You're seeing all these data come out, right? Where 3, 4, 5 member teams are hitting like millions of digits in ARR.
Yeah,
There are 20 member teams. The rumor is that people like hitting 100, 200 million ARR,
yeah,
right? There seems to be some tectonic shift happening. Of course, we all know about LLMs and the technology, and it's been playing out for the last 2.5 years.
yeah.
But what I was very curious was, from your vantage point, what are you seeing in terms of the new AI native startups? How are they doing product and go to market differently from the pre AI kind of SaaS startups of the last era?
Um, so very something we think about a lot, and it kind of at the heart of it comes down to the consumerization of even enterprise software. So a lot of this growth, which was previously thought to be like limited to the likes of like mobile apps, think WhatsApp, think Instagram, that kind of growth charts, we are also seeing in enterprise software, which is extremely exciting. And AI has got a big role to play in it. And AI kind of manifests in two different ways. One is the product side of it, which is how we are building it, selling it, or rather the internal side of it, which can be like 1A building it and 1B selling it. But just as much, actually, the society's acceptance of some of these things has drastically changed. And I mean, when ChatGPT came, again, it got like some of the fastest adoption you have seen across any company. And as a result of it, we often see our own customers who have actually had a very, very pleasant experience with AI in the last like 12, 18 months and come to us and say, very candidly, like I was a AI skeptic all this while, or I always thought AI was something that wouldn't really impact me or really not give any benefits to my company. But in the last 12, 18 months, we've actually seen some of it play out in their personal life where it's like an extremely delightful experience. Uh, and as a result of it, there is the Overton window of that whole thing has shifted, especially even in industries that are more regulated than ours. And then in turn, they are actually inbounding at a crazy rate. That drives value. A quick example of that is like just from yesterday evening, our virtual bot essentially took a payment at like 6:10 p.m. because someone called in and there was no one available at our customer at that time. And that whole experience was extremely delightful for the operator, for the owner of the business. When they kind of saw and said, oh wow, this payment at best I would have gotten the next day, but very likely I could have missed it because someone would have spent that money. So it was like kind of a light bulb going on in their mind, and that kind of that is happening like a million times over across the enterprise world, which was previously something that was only limited to the consumer world. So this is kind of the whole consumerization of enterprise software has been going on for I think close to a decade now in many cases, but has really picked up steam. Uh, now the flip side of it, not to be a party pooper, is we are seeing loyalties also be like consumer loyalties, right? No one thinks twice about uninstalling an app. So yesterday you had GitHub Copilot, today you have Cursor, tomorrow you have Podium Windsurf. So a lot of these things will also result in a lot of churn problem. But the idea is there is a lot of opportunity. It's a wild, wild west, and as a result, there's a lot of land grab, and we are excited about it actually.
Yeah, and I think specifically the point around churn, right? So that's kind of the common pushback now on all these numbers, these crazy growth numbers that are coming out for a lot of startups that, hey, how much of this revenue is actually going to be sticky?
Yeah,
And is this generation of companies really, are they going to become enduring companies, right? And especially in Prodigal's context, right? I mean, all your customers are very large
yeah.
enterprises, right? I mean, they don't make these decisions easily, right? There's a huge impact, there's massive scale. What are you seeing from their vantage point? Like, are these experimental budgets? Are they kind of trying things out, or do you really feel that look, there is a mindset shift happening, and a lot of these products are
So,
here to stay?
so don't get me wrong. I'm like a massively AI optimist. So I
Yeah,
definitely think this is here to stay.
yeah.
Now, whether it will be like a thousand flowers bloom, or will there be a glut and a famine, and like maybe like three or four really good products will survive? Time will tell. But even in the worst case, we are not going back. I think that's very clear. I think there's a new paradigm that's set in. So people are mentally not mentally preparing for a shift in their businesses of transformation. We work with a lot of lenders. They are thinking very aggressively as to how they staff their own loan servicing and collection teams over the next 5, 7 years. And that genie is not going back in the bottle. Now, again, as startups, we believe, and in the long run, I think the best product will indeed win. But we are actually really beneficiary of a lot of our, let's say, competitors uh, giving a bad product experience, because now they've seen what it can be, and they actually need someone to come in. There's this famous saying quoted, attributed to Peter Thiel, I guess, which is have the last more advantage. And that's what we really are pushing for, which is like, how do we be the last more in this space? And again, we are very vertically focused. But the question is, in our vertical, what does it take for us to be like the last mover? And at that point, essentially, not just with a particular like agent or something like that, just create a whole ecosystem that gives us like a commanding dominant market share for like years to come. So we are actually benefiting a lot from some of our customers, crashing and burning, honestly. But the problem is real. And again, one of the things, especially for early stage founders, there's always this temptation of, uh, trying to be too cute by a half. And we've seen some of these like fraud numbers come out in the last 6 weeks or so. I think that's a temptation that you should definitely avoid. Is basically like, if there's anyone in the audience, if that thought has ever crossed their mind, I think I would just be like, hey, look, that is not something that is going to hold you in good stead. You might. So, but we are definitely also seeing some of that play out, and is something that anyone in your audience I would strongly recommend to be watchful for. But because in the long run, the best product is going to win.
Yeah, yeah.
Apple didn't launch the first what became the iPod category. They were not the first mobile MP3 player. They were actually not even the first smartphone, but that's the category that they command.